Good evening, everybody. Welcome. I am here again to share with you guys a spinoff from Wednesday. So I will be here Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays concerning the matters of the heart. So welcome. If you put a comment, I won't be able to read it until later because I'm on two different platforms, but I will respond later. But I want to thank you guys for joining me. My name is Cami Knight with A Higher Love. And what I really do is I help women heal from self sabotaging beliefs and trauma and different pain that they have stored in their bodies that they feel that they have to carry, oftentimes on an unconscious level. And just thinking that that is just the way of life. That life is about struggle and fear and sort of managing trauma, managing anxiety, just sort of like coping with it, dealing with it. I know all about that. I know all about the story of believing the lie, believing that you're not enough, believing that you're not worthy, and I carry uh, that heaviness, that burden, that belief into my adulthood, and I just thought that that was just the way life was supposed to be, and my soul was crying out, and God saved me from myself. And just in the middle of my life, God just removed the curtains off of my eyes. And I really was left in a fetal position, crying out to God. And that's when God spoke to me. And it told me that everything that I had carried about myself, all the beliefs that I had about myself, and how I viewed me, how I viewed life, how I viewed my relationships, how I viewed God, was misguided. It was filtered. It was based out of a lot of fear, a lot of trauma, a lot of misperceptions that I thought I had to have about myself. And God just began showing me what love really is, what love really meant. And God took me on the journey of unlearning. And it was more about me stripping away and letting go of who I thought I had to be and accepting the truth of who I was, which freed me, which allowed me to lose the weight, physical weight, not only the spiritual, not only the mental, not only the emotional weight, but God allowed me to, with my free will, with my decision to say yes on the journey of dismantling, on the journey of purging, pruning. I said I begin my eyes begin becoming more clear, and so I dive further into my story if you want to know more about my story. I share a lot of it on this platform, and I share a lot of it in content on my podcast. I love going sharing things on my podcast. So if you haven't subscribed to that, you can head on and hang out with me over there. So there's that. I want to share with you on today, as we're on this whole topic of healing the matters of the heart. I want to share with you on today, how do I trust again? And once again, this is a spin-off from Wednesday. Um, and I want to start with, let me just jump right into it. So, number one, first, let me ask you, what was your initial belief or experience when it came to trusting? I want you to get into your mind and think about what was first. Let me ask you, what was your first initial thought, experience, belief when it came to the word trust? And I'm asking you this question because we're getting ready to go elsewhere. Where did your belief about trust start? Where in your childhood, oftentimes it happens in our childhood or, from our past, where did your belief about trust start? It's good to get to the root of the matter. Okay. So pausing and asking yourself these questions. Where did your belief about trust start? or where was it shattered? And my next question is, why was that broken? What happened in your life, or what did you experience in the area of trust where you felt broken, where your heart felt broken, or where you may have been, it may have been tainted? Going back into your mind and thinking of those questions. And based out of that experience or experiences, what conclusion did you come up with about trust? These are good questions to ask. These are good questions to ask, because the reason why I say this is because if you've just been fighting and clawing and fighting and clawing and fighting and clawing, but you don't know why you're fighting, right? You're just so accustomed to fighting and clawing and defending and guarding and having all of these different symptoms, right? Just having fighting, sort of like fighting blind, right? Scraping and surviving, but and trying to keep your head above water, but really not even knowing the root as to what causes, or your reason as to why you were scraping and clawing and maybe bickering, or might guard your heart, or you may not even know. You're just so accustomed to surviving until you haven't gotten to the root to recognize what is it that is causing the very thing inside of you to create the need to be afraid, the need to not let go of that pain, not let go of that experience. Okay. So I ask again, based out of that experience, what conclusions did you come up with about trust? Okay. We're going to move on to the next thing. A lot of times, our reason to not trust again is because we are holding on to the old story, or holding on to, listen very, very good, or holding on to other people's stuff, other people's agreement, another person's experience that we are tied to, and it gets passed down to us. And so we have the agreement that somebody else has that's not even ours. So we haven't given ourselves a chance to become our authentic self by trusting the self, which is where I'm getting ready to go to next. By trusting that inner voice, by listening to your heart, by listening to your true self. Another point is, so let's clear the lens, as I stated before. Let's clear the lens here in order to trust, in order to get to that place of trusting again. You may have thought, you may be thinking, well, I've never trusted. I've never been in a situation where I trusted. You have. You just may not remember. There was a point in your life where you did trust. Even when you were a baby, there was some level of trust that you had where you didn't question, where you just trusted. And that, to get back to that place, is to get back to the presence of God, or to get back to one with self, to get back to listening, pausing, breathing, and listening to that voice. Because here is what I know that I know that I know that I know to be true. That if you do not listen to your inner guiding, your inner wisdom, your intuition, God that is speaking to you, listening to your heart, if you're not listening to that, right? Your higher conscience. If you're not listening to that, getting quiet and listening to that and leading into that and trusting that, oftentimes the reason why we might have that resistance is because what is speaking is our wounds. What is speaking is our need to hold on to the fear. What is speaking is the experience that we rehearse over and over again. What is speaking is the agreement that we constantly have said yes to, especially if it was a heavy abuse when you were younger, physical abuse or emotional abuse or physical abuse. This oftentimes can be the very thing that's speaking so loud that it covers up the very divine truth of who you are. And it's such a heavy illusion for many. Fear has been such a heavy illusion that causes you to stay in the cycle of survival, in the cycle of maintaining, in the cycle of managing, um, instead of in the alignment of thriving, in the alignment of love, in the alignment of healing, and in the alignment of truth. And so when you get to those root issues, when you get to the root cause, you're able to shift. You're able to shift into a new gear. You're able to tune into that voice, that voice you. So you might be saying, even if the words that I'm sharing with you might be a bit like, I don't understand what do you mean higher conscience or your soul. That voice that all where you say when you don't listen to it and later on you say to yourself, I knew I was right. I knew I should have listened to myself. I knew I should have listened to. That is what I'm talking about. That small voice, that nudge. Okay. And so once again, that's really how we trust again. We trust again by trusting ourselves. Okay. So number one, getting to, as I stated before in the beginning, what was your initial belief or experience that had to do with trust? Because oftentimes in the root, we have to deal with the root, identifying the root, healing from the root. And this is how I help women heal, is to be able to identify the root. Because if you were like me, you didn't feel that you had that kind of power. Like, you didn't I didn't feel that I had that kind of power. I knew that it was within me. I didn't know how to access it. And so God had to help me dismantle and break down those walls, break down those beliefs, those agreements of me thinking that I had to be, always had to be the person or the girl that hid, always had to be the girl who felt that I wasn't enough and wasn't worthy, felt looked over. All these agreements um, I kept as my sense of identity and as my sense of protection to protect myself. And God just began showing me time and time again. God just began showing me the truth of who I was and letting go of the old story, letting go and defying the lie, and knowing the very power that is at work in you, the very divine power that is at work in you. It won't work it unless you work it. That's how we grow our faith. That's how we step into the new. You have to be the one to activate it. It ain't just going to happen overnight. You have to be the one to make that choice. Okay? And it is possible. I wouldn't be sitting here sharing this content with you if this were not true. If my life did not transform literally for the better, if this were not true. I know I'm not sharing this is because this is something because this is a book that I read. I'm sharing this with you because I walked it out myself, literally, spiritually, mentally. emotionally, physically. I walked it out. And I know that it is possible for all who believe. But your belief does not have to be the size of this house. Your belief just has to be that big, just taking that one step. But your belief has to be, you have to consciously make that decision. How do you want to heal your life? Do you want to carry the same old story over and over again? Or do you really believe and truly want to step into the life that you really desire in your heart, but afraid, but know that you have the power to, but just need some help in nudging along the way? Well, I'm here to help nudge along the way. So that's all I have to share with you guys on today. If you guys want to, if any of you guys want to contact me for any further assistance or for any further help, I do have a course called Heal Your Heart. It's a self-paced mini course. You can go, like I said, at your own pace. I really like those personally. And it dives further into healing the matters of the heart and dealing with the root, a lot of our childhood traumas and beliefs, and healing from those and detaching from those. Um, I have a whole lecture or course class on it that I do, that I teach on in the course, and also I also have affirmations and meditation and things like that. And if you would like personal help, you can definitely reach out to me. I do a 15-minute free discovery call, and we can see what resources that I have to share with you um, to see if it helps. I've helped many, and I've helped my own life, and I'm here to do the same for you. So that's all I got. I want to thank you guys for joining me. And I will see you guys another time, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I will be here dealing with the matters of the heart. So thank you guys for joining me, and catch you guys another time. This is fun. I really like this. This is really fun. Healing can be fun. It's hard. I ain't gonna lie. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Anything worth having is worth it. And then you get to the other side and you see how easy it is. It's just constantly exercising your faith, constantly saying yes to what already is. You are so worth it. You are so worth it. You are worthy without measure. Okay. Thank you guys. That's all I got. Bye.